So my Xbox 360S power supply is playing up. How do I know this? Well, on the front is a little light and it's normally green. Not today. Today it is not even amber, it's red. Normally means it's an overheat situation. First thing to do is to take it and unplug it from the power and let it cool down for a bit and try again. Now, if you're going to do what I'm going to do, which is pull it apart, the next thing to do is to unplug it from the mains, but try and turn your Xbox on just to drain any extra power out of the capacitors and other components inside the transformer. There's lots and lots of videos online on what to do in this situation. Here's my take on it, a little bit different to the others, and here's the tools I used. So let's pull this thing apart. Having checked the vents to make sure there's no fluff, actually I found a lot of fluff, but checking those vents to make sure that the intake is not actually blocked, I guess the next step is to pull it apart and have a look at what's inside. I used a pair of pointy nose pliers, a really pointy flat edge screwdriver, a jeweler's screwdriver, a Torx 10 bit and a normal Phillips head to pull this apart. Now the first thing is to pull apart the four corners, the little rubber feet. You're not going to like this, they come off but they ain't going back on, not unless you use some hot glue or something. So I used the pair of pliers to take that off, and off comes the little rubber foot. Pretty much pulled it off and broke it. And underneath there, a little bit of plastic which I managed to get with my pair of pliers and pull out very carefully. And once I got that out from all four, I can open up and have a look inside. Having pulled out the little rubber grommets from each corner and the little plastic spacer that's inside, I then use the Torx 10 bit to actually undo the four screws and pull them out. Then inside, we've got the guts of the assembly. Turn him over and start dismantling. In my case, I just found this top bit came off quite easily. It's still connected via a wire, so be very careful. In fact, the wire's on this side, so I'm going to break it if I'm not too careful. Now, what am I looking for? Well, the first thing is be very careful touching anything in here. You could get a bit of a zap. Capacitors are known to store up a little bit of power. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for bulging capacitors. That's these things here at the end here. Making sure none are bulgy. No leakage, nothing's leaked out around them. Big capacitor here, you really don't want to short that out. And a couple of toroids and bits and pieces. Looking for burn marks on the board and looking for any fluff build-up and dirt build-up. At the moment, it actually looks quite clean. Looking at the vent here, nothing I can see yet. So the next trick is I've got screws in the corners here, here to pull that out. And inside there is the fan assembly. Once I get to the fan assembly, I've then got to use a small jeweler's screwdriver to pull out the fan itself. So let's go ahead and pull the fan assembly, which I've already taken the screws out of, to one side. So I've pulled out that fan assembly sitting over there, and there's the lid. And as you can see, bit of fluff in there. And as we can see from looking at the fan, there's a bit of fluff in there. So the next step for me is to get a can of compressed air and try and blow as much of the dust out of this as possible. The fan does seem to spin fairly freely. There's four little screws here for your jeweler's screwdriver to remove. Once you get that open, you've then got the fan. As you can see, there's some fluff in there. Still seems to spin all right. I'm going to lubricate that anyway, but let's see if we can get this Xbox working again. Now the air comes in through these little vents here, and there's also some vents in the end. Comes around this bricky thing, which obviously is there to collect the dust. So pull that out and give that a little bit of a clean as well. I've already done that. We're now ready to look at the fan. As you can see, just from a few minutes worth of work, lots of dust falling out of this fan. If you are using an air compressor to clean this, try not to make this spin too much out of control with your air pressure. You don't want to make the fan wear out any sooner than it really should. Right, now that I've cleaned that, looks pretty good. And I've lubricated a little bit of the fan. I'm going to reassemble and test. When reassembling, the one screw that may give you some problems is this one just here. It's got to screw down into the top of the fan, and the fan in gravity will fall forward this way, and you put your finger underneath and plop back into place and put the screw in. This screw here is quite easy, so it's that one, and then so is this one. And the four that come off the top of the fan, very easy. So, final assembly about to happen. The 4 screws on the bottom go back in, and they go in rather tight. It's a really tight fit. The clamshell should go back together and meet on all sides quite easily. If it doesn't, check the circuit board inside. There's 4 little off stands inside for the circuit board that it fits around. Make sure it's not clamping down on one of them. At this point, you're pretty much left with a handful of rubbish for the feet. You could probably hot glue the back on if you wanted to, but from this point, it's now just up to testing. Before I go and test this, I'm going to plug it into my power and give it a bit of a bell. The amber light should come on because it's not plugged into the Xbox, the fan's not running, it's not doing anything. Just want to make sure I'm not going to damage my expensive Xbox. Failing this, these things are quite cheap on eBay. You can pick up a 360S power supply power brick for quite a cheap price. Second hand, yeah, you can also get new ones as well. And obviously aftermarket knockoff ones, but they're quite cheap. So if this fails, the next step, buy a new one. Don't bother going any further with it.